Hi, everyone. It's Dr. T here, the reality maker, coming to you from our reality making universe, where we are making amazing realities come true with the reality company and our different companies, including the Empire Company, the Dynasty Company, the Power Couple Company, and so many of our amazing reality companies that make reality come true. Also, we're really excited because Empire Maker Media has launched this incredible new book, and I'm excited to share this with you all and this amazing author that's with us today, Dr. Kristy Singer MacNair. Dr. Kristy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is so exciting. So everyone, today we are talking about this incredible book called Untamable, How to Step Out of the Box and Let Yourself Fly. And let me tell you, ever since we've gone into the process of publishing Dr. Kristy's book, myself and my team are flying high, getting all the upgrades that Dr. Kristy is here to give us. And we're going to go into more of that today, just really getting into this territory of what it means to be untamable, step out of the box, and let yourself fly. But what I first want to do is just introduce you a little bit more to Dr. Kristy and tell you about her fabulosity by just reading her bio here, which is in this gorgeous hardcover book, Untamable. So, hang on. It's this part over here. Okay, everyone. Dr. Kristy Singer MacNair is a licensed speech language pathologist, a credentialed teacher, and a sought-after educational expert. Sought-after educational expert consultant, by the way, with a passion for human development and empowerment. Dr. Kristy is driven by her love of children and a deep desire to see both children and adults alike be able to live out their untamable, unique purpose and fulfill their potential. With a track record of over 30 years in education, Dr. Kristy has made her mark in the educational field with years of consistent devotion to her students and clients, setting them up for a lifetime of success and ensuring that they have all they need to succeed strategically in their careers, in addition to helping her clients become who they are meant to be. With all that, Dr. Kristy enjoys traveling with her husband, Jim, and spending family time together with Hunter and Cameron in Glen Ellen. So everyone, this is the new author of Untamable. And Dr. Kristy, we want to just get right into it.
Okay.
And let's just start by talking a little bit about your background and some of the things that you think would be helpful for people to know about you and your trajectory.
Well, I think it's really important to, and the book explains it, how I started, and this was how it was in 1950s and on, is to, being raised in a beautiful family, a small community, and it was like, as I call it, like the movie Pleasantville.
Right.
All the families eat at this, not eat exact time, but
Right.
They have their dinner, church on Sundays, activities at the park, family gatherings. And, it was really about what I still greatly respect and honor in my past. Having beautiful parents, and everyone loved them, and they were really role models and pillars of the community. So that I just treasure that's in my background.
Yeah.
But something wasn't quite right. And so, and I have to remind you that this didn't happen overnight. And as you read the book, and it's about the process, because It's not like today I want to be free and fly, even though I felt it in my heart.
Yeah.
And it's important to know, and why we call it let her fly or let you fly, whatever, is when I was really little, I was not an infant, probably a toddler, and I'm a twin and have a sister 3 years older. My mom had these little kids on her hands. And so she took us to this fabulous pediatrician And she was such a great mother and wanted to do her best. She said to the doctor, I'm not sure what to do with Kristy. Do you have this Kristy? She is very strong-willed. And what are your ideas? He said, you know what I recommend? Let her fly and she'll be successful. And apparently my mom took that to heart. So the parenting was excellent. Anyway, and then, so from there, that's my little bit about my background, and it will have, which I love to do, historical events that maybe some of you may know or have read. And I find that extremely important, actually in any book, but mine in particular, because it shows, it's kind of it's a transformation of myself, coming from a caterpillar and then taking off in flight with my wings as a butterfly.
I love this, Dr. Kristy. And just so everybody knows, I call Dr. Kristy DK because I'm one of these people. If I can shorten it, I just do. And so this story is this piece of this moment in time, right? And if we can all relate to the fact that I feel like there are these different angels that are in our lives or in the periphery of our lives. And your mom there wanting to make sure she's doing right by you. And what do we do? And, we know that in the future, we hope that a strong-willed girl is not somebody that needs to go to the pediatrician for that. But at that time, that was this very responsible thing to do. And then this beautiful moment where this doctor is saying, essentially, don't repress her, right? Let her express herself, let herself be free. And this, everyone, was such a big part of why at Empire Maker Media, we were just compelled to do this book, because we're all about liberation. And that's such an important message here. And looking at this part of what goes on, where people are in these transformations and at time goes through these stages like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly and flying. That's why, again, we love, this is the symbol, everyone, by the way, of Untamable, is this lovely butterfly, of course, with a crown. And Dr. Kristy, what do you want to say more about the butterfly and the crown?
Well, I love elegance and I love sophistication. And I think of myself as a princess because I want to convey that elegance. And my mother is from the South, but she had a friend that was from England. And so my mother had all these beautiful traditions and things. I mean, as simple as always carrying a handkerchief.
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
And so I have a lot of hers. Some she made, some my grandmother made. And that to me has meant a lot because I really love I love English gardens. I love the accents. I love, and I was in England several years ago and fell in love with it all again, all over.
Right. Because, everybody, if we can let ourselves be completely our fullest expression of ourselves, feeling like the queen, feeling like the princess, being the butterfly with the crown, right? Which just adds more radiance for everybody. This is I feel one of the most important messages of Untamable, right? Because you can have it the way you want it. And yet it's really important to note that in Untamable, you're really taking us through a journey, which of course is your transformation to really allow yourself to be what you are. But it's also taking us through this trajectory of the era of evolution that you have come through and what it's meant to be a person, be a woman at this particular stage in all of our evolution of as a human race, and what that's been like to be able to fight for your own liberation and figure out and navigate that. So Dr. Kristy, give us a little bit more of a sense of what it's been like for you to want to be who you are, and take us far back, however far back you want to go, and through these parts to, and what this has been about, to be able to be at a moment where you can not only be untamable, but say, I'm telling all of you, this is the way to go.
Well, I was in college. Well, so let me go back a bit. So I described how I was living. I was a cheerleader. I played sports, spiritual, yes, in this small community. And so then it was time for me to go to college. And so my first exposure to how wild it was during the late 60s and 70s, early 70s, was UC Santa Barbara. And we
Party Town, USA, in case you all don't know that. Yeah, that's the place to be.
And my eyes, I think, were wide open for years. And, I was there when they burned the bank. I was there, to see all these protests, and they were at UC Berkeley as well. And, it was the moments were during the war in Vietnam, because so many people opposed it. And so there's information on that. But yeah, it was the bank burned. So that was really like huge eye opener. And I think what was important, it was a match for my personality and how I believe, because there were lots of really intelligent, brilliant, very communicative, strong women. And I think that was probably really a huge turning point, because it was like, hey, I want to be like that.
Yes.
And so that was good. So I began practicing my skills, and I went to 2 different colleges and for speech pathology. And this I think, because now I can explain how professionally it affected me,
right,
is both colleges in the speech and language pathology department had total different, almost opposite ends of the spectrum therapy techniques. And one was just about kind of being loose and hanging out. Oh, I think I heard you say some good R sounds. Mm-hmm. And the other school, total opposite. It was operant conditioning. And if any of you know about operant conditioning, you had the child on a schedule. And, so you had to record all the data. And anyway, but what ended up, and then I got my master's and my credential and license to practice. And then I got my doctorate degree later in education. But anyway, I think it was really a process. And that's why I hope I can give you this gift.
Well, here's the thing, right? There is a massive amount of improvement that is needed for people in general. And then also as women, we of course want to advocate for females everywhere to be able to literally be who they are, right? Say what they want to say, do what they want to do. And this is what everybody Untamable is about. And this is for people that have also gone through the evolution that you have, right? The particular time that somebody's born and all the things that everybody's overcoming during that time and contributing to. And I know so many of your contemporaries are going to be so happy to really be able to see themselves in this journey that you've had, and then everything that you did along the way to truly fight for your right to be you amongst anybody. And that again is this message of Untamable. And yet we know this, we also intend this to be a universal message for females and anyone that feels oppressed, anyone that feels like they're being tamed. And so, Dr. Kristy, tell us a little bit about how people can understand what it means to be tamed and what it means to be untamable.
Well, obviously they're opposite ends of the spectrum to
Yeah.
me. And so being tamed was, I was that sweet little girl from Modesto. And I operated how everyone else, and it wasn't like I was sad or mad. It just it was an evolution. It kept happening, all these feelings, and even within my family and my sisters, my mother and dad were always very supportive. And when I look back, my mother and was really progressive, and yeah, and she was a great role model, and she's very outgoing. And I finally had, but I think this was later on in my life, that I saw her really reach out and very appropriate communication to try to achieve her goals.
Nice.
And she had these great ideas. She wanted us as children, or later on, experience everything we could. You need to ride a train. You need to play sport. I mean, she would take us places like to Colorado for one of my dad's Marine anniversaries or whatever, and, she wanted us to be, as I now see it, well-rounded.
Yeah.
So
and I feel like she wanted you to be worldly, right? Even here you are in this idyllic Norman Rockwell town of Modesto, California. And she wants you to be what I feel is like a citizen of the world. Not something.
I do think that.
Yeah. It's really, and that, what I love about that style of parenting is that's a real humanitarian style of parenting. It's saying, I'm going to put these people out into the world who are civilized and intentional and dignified and completely aware and intelligent and all of these things. And I think it's one of the things that's really exciting for everyone to know is in what Dr. Kristy's sharing in this story. It feels, what I love about it is of course, you, Dr. Kristy, got this upbringing and we get to experience you, but I really feel like we're getting to experience your parents' parenting within the experience of the book. And people who are just so intentional in the way that I know so many people want to be and don't necessarily have the handbook. And I think it's really a testament to the way that your family was, that you have come to be someone that naturally wanted to make a contribution to society, right? Versus like, I'm just going to get a job. You will all find in this book feeling that Dr. Kristy is on a purpose and a mission throughout her career versus like, she's just going to go to get a job somewhere. So Dr. Kristy, is that feeling, am I getting that accurately from the book?
Yes, absolutely. And just the whole process. And I love to dig into research. And this wasn't so much a book about research, but I felt there were certain parts that were just critical to this book to empower people, give them skills. And I addressed a section of how do we communicate? Yeah. We all communicate. Are we effective? And are we being heard? And that's really important. So yes, my book is about being untamable, but it's also, you don't just do anything you want. In order to develop personal and professional relationships, there's techniques. And I have so many more ideas about communication, but I did include a couple other authors' suggestions.
Well, and I just think this is amazing in helping people understand that what one book can contain, which Untamable does, right? So, because it is saying you can be who you are, you can be whoever you want. And there's so much amazing material that I know everyone will enjoy with that. But what you're also adding to that in your own personal flavor of this is the sophistication of intentional communication that actually transmits, creates something in a empowering, collaborative way. And, since we all know, hopefully by now, that what we communicate is the reality that we make, this is why, again, we love to highlight people like Dr. Kristy, because the skill of elegant communication to me just feels like an essential foundation that all people need. And I really invite all of you to start on that track by reading the book Untamable, which will, again, tell you more about Dr. Kristy, how she helps people with that, and then how to get in touch with her, even though I'll have a link here for all of you. I want to go in a little bit into some territory, Dr. Kristy, that you touched on, and we touched on a little bit, but I think is really important in this juxtaposition of what it means to be tamed, where what we're talking about, everyone, is that you just have to follow whatever the rules are that seem to be given to you and what everyone else wants you to do. And ultimately the programming of society, right? Which some of it you're aware of and a lot of it we aren't, right? We're being programmed all the time and being domesticated, or you could say being tamed. And then there is this experience of being untamable, which you have available as a transformation in this book, where you get to be fully expressed in your potential, right? You get to be out of the box, you get to be expressed, and your contribution and voice get to be heard, and your mark on the world is made in your own beautiful, unique flair, right? And so what's great, everyone, right? We know that that's what we need. We need everybody to bring their untamable self. And yet one of the core things that I have really taken away from this book, and it's changed my life and the life of my team, is this really insidious thing about having to be the nice girl and what that is like and what it does. So Dr. Kristy, tell us a little bit about that and how that impacted your life and how you've been navigating that in your lifetime.
Well, again, it was a journey. And I was in the public school system working. And as we know, most of us know that the government, the state, the federal government has all these rulings in the world over us.
Right. All of these things that are parameters to help people, supposedly, right?
Right. But what I noticed was I have always been the person that, especially working with children or adults, when they had a lot of difficulties, I did not give up. I kept saying, there has to be something. What else? And I'd pull out another assessment that's standardized and real thoroughly research their background and their educational experiences. But what happened when we would go, because I write these lengthy reports, we have a team meeting with the principal, if needed, medical, physical therapist, occupational therapist, and the classroom teacher and the parents, and present our reports, recommendations, and then the goals that, the kind of treatment we would like to propose for the person. Well, I really had a challenge with that because it was clear. I had some principals that just wanted to stick to the program, didn't want, because I spent a lot of time explaining mine, because I feel, and again, a communication thing I do, I check in with the parents. I'll say something really, and I'll just say, are you with me? Do you understand? Could I, explain more to you? And I just got a thank you note from a parent yesterday about how appreciative she was of my work and being such a great diagnostician. And she said, which is so true, she goes, I could tell you really enjoyed my son. So you can have your rules that you follow, that you want, but there's compassion there. If you don't live, with your compassion for people in general, then that's got to be a part of it.
Right. So it makes sense that, you're here to do the thing that upgrades the person, right? That's the only priority, right? Is that
right.
That really is the case for any of us in any field in any profession, whatever we're doing, we're here to upgrade the person, the situation, their reality. And when these kinds of parameters are in place like that, sure, it's got intentions with it. But what I love about you, and I really relate to this, is at the heart of it, it's being a humanitarian. It's that compassion that says, I've got to do the thing. These might be the rules, and you might want me to play by these rules, but this is an individual person. This is their life, their family. And you are someone who always just you do the untamable strategy, which says, I'm going to really make sure I do the right thing by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and this is the amazing part for everybody to get, which I think is so great, is you can be untamable like Dr. Kristy, and you can learn even more about how she does that by reading Untamable. And instead of that thing that feels like if I be who I am, people might be mad at me, and the nice girl program, that kind of thing. And what you're saying is you move through that discomfort to do the thing that is untamable, and people are then thanking you for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
So that feels like one of the core messages. Anything that you want to add to that?
Well, when I first started realizing, I just could not, I think what really was important was who I was working with. And I'm going to just say it. Some principles were really restrictive, and I was very unhappy, because I felt I wasn't doing what I was here to do. And then when I had principals that really respected me and enjoyed my information I had to share and promoted me to be able to do that, even though it takes longer, and so that it really, like I said, it affects your professional life as well.
Right. Well, that's something. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, that's something for everybody to understand, that there's why this is so transformative is you're really taking us into what it was like to be on this journey of being, first of all, if everybody can see this, Dr. Kristy's this gorgeous, beautiful, brilliant bombshell of an advocate for people, children especially, and all people, and be here to do something purposeful, and then moving through experiences with these different rules that are in place, but also this thing about, it's a very female experience that's being articulated here about what it's like to feel like you have to be this nice girl in order to get along, and the way in which that gets in the way versus what it means to actually redefine that and not anymore go with that strategy of the nice girl versus what it would be like for everybody to follow along here and use the untamable strategy that says, with a little bit more of intention, you can actually make a huge difference in somebody's life, because people will eventually get used to your untamable self. Am I getting that?
Yes. When I left my principal the other day, because our school district ended, and I showed him my book, and I goes, "Does this surprise you?" He goes, "No way."
No. No, I'm so excited.
Because it applies to your life, to have fun and to still, enjoy life with, I would say, deeper relationships with people.
Absolutely. Because as I think about this experience that you articulate for us, where, you're wanting all throughout your life to say things that are going to be helpful for people, to speak up in conversations. And then as you do, the responses and how what you're all going to experience is like this amazing way in which you move through this video game, Dr. Kristy,
Yeah.
right? Of these, just, it's a chess, it's like, okay, and this person, and you're, you're in a meeting, and just all these different things about the way you're being approached as a female, as a beauty, all kinds of stuff, everybody, that's really juicy and really shows you how Dr. Kristy navigated all of that to then, again, just continue on this path of being untamable. And I think this is the most important, I would say the biggest thing about meeting you, knowing you, getting to be so close with you, having our company publish this book, amazing book with you, and which means, everyone, that we've been getting the Untamable upgrade for some time now. And while there's so many upgrades in here, I just want to continue to speak about this one, which is this book has helped me examine every which way in which that you have to be a nice girl strategy was in my programming, is in the programming of my female friends and counterparts, and how limiting that is, because it implies that somehow is going to elevate the situation, right? Just being nice and being polite and being proper. And Dr. Kristy, I just want to thank you so much, because I really was able to see that nice girl, like taming of the female strategy. I was able to see a lot of the roots of that and the control in that, and the way that has really done a lot to suppress the talent and the brilliance of females, which we can absolutely use all of it here in our world. And just watching where it's like, there's so much better strategy, like the strategy of be supportive, be strategic, right? This thing of like, I thought being a nice girl as this main female strategy almost felt to me like, well, it does, like, it's almost like a trauma fight flight response.
Yes.
You see that? Right? Where it's like, okay, if I freeze, if I just do this, like fawn, that will be okay. And I do think that because females and people that might be more sensitive or weaker compared to others throughout our history have needed to use that strategy at times, but having it become this way that females, especially, and other people feel like it's the only way they can navigate through life. I just had me realize how disempowering that is. And that's one of the biggest upgrades I'm excited for people to get, is that you can throw that strategy out the window because it's not helping anybody, and that you can actually replace it, not just with something a little bit more, but like the absolute be untamable strategy. And so, Dr. Kristy, as you continue to arrive more and more into your untamable self, permission to be even more untamable, what are some of the benefits that you realize?
Well, a feeling of joy and happiness, and I think I would say feeling some freedom and accomplishing what's been that fire inside of me, you know, but have strategies. That's why, I mean, back then, I'm going to say, caution people, is when I first started really stepping up, and there's an example in the book of me standing up in an auditorium of all these people, and the presenters were trying to sell their program.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just tell you that. And I walked out. I said, how can you? So I look back and I think, oh, that's quite aggressive. I think I could have handled that a little better. And then I have a couple other incidences like that. And so it's a journey, and that's what's most important to understand. It's a process and it's a journey, but the information I have provided you, should expedite it.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. It really is. It's a complete shortcut, everyone. And again, things that I just feel so appreciative of, as I invite all of you to do this, like as you read it, literally open yourself up to take in this Untamable upgrade, right? It's in the words, it's in everything about the book, but it's this overall upgrade that Dr. Kristy is giving us. Mm-hmm. And I think this is so important because you are navigating through life and seeing these different opportunities and making decisions about them. And so whether it's something like that example of knowing you wanted to speak up and then just doing it, I love that so much, because what you're teaching everybody is it's a practice. So go ahead and practice. Yes. Do it as good as you can do it to that extent. Check the box, and then the next time you're gonna lean more into that liberation and the freedom of speech, and what we like to make sure you put in intentional communication, right? That has a purpose.
Absolutely.
And when you're like, here's the thing I can really say to everybody, like, this is one of the things that I'm actually receiving right now, just as we're talking about this, because this is how powerful this is. And so I invite all of you to receive this. Dr. Kristy is literally helping us open up our voice. Dr. Kristy has helped me find more of my voice. I thought, you all know I have a lot to say. You ain't seen nothing yet, right? So it's truly like a physiological expansion, and you just feel this opening, which I really love so much. Again, I'm going to invite you all to really go there right now and just let yourself open up your untamable self, open up your voice, because the things that you need to say are so important. And one of the things that I love is it makes me feel like I'm more of a channel for a divine reality to come through and happen. And if any of us are tamed and closing down and keeping in this nice girl thing, rather than utilizing this upgrade to be more untamable and speak up, and especially on behalf of people that we know need us to speak up for them, like, this is what is available to everyone. So there's something really powerful. This book has actually helped me get started singing, which is something I always wanted to do and held myself back because my singing voice wasn't what I wanted. But this has given me permission to sing my way through it becoming good. And I just absolutely love you for that and just appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add to that, Dr. Kristy? Like, that's the power of Untamable.
Yeah, I just want to recommend what's really important, and I'd love to, I may do another book on that, is the importance of body language. And I'm like, oh, wow. I have to contain myself, like in public, when I see how couples are interacting or how parents are with their little children. It's like, oh, I want to show you.
You want to, like, I love this because this is your core purpose to me. Literally feels like you are this communication angel, and you are just dropping your beautiful communication, elegant tips. And I know I love receiving them, and I'm all ears, I'm tuned in. And this is so important, everyone, because it is everything. You're saying your body language, ultimately you're communicating all the time. And there's this beautiful art form that you understand. And that's why later, once we wrap the show, as we're wrapping the show, you'll all get a direct connect to Dr. Kristy's website. So you can, connect with her on anything it is that you'd like to upgrade in this area, or whatever it is that might be needed for you to basically become your most untamable, elegant communicator. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. And within that, I have had success with presenting like scenarios, and we sit back and we discuss it. Like what worked, what didn't work.
Right.
And because it's easier that way to teach, because it's right in front of you. You're seeing someone crossing their arms, looking away, rolling their eyes.
I know you don't like that one.
And those, things like that. But we're getting messages. And I have some examples in there I could have given.
Okay, gotcha. This makes sense, right? So everybody going to get some more insight into what you're actually communicating, because you're communicating all the time with all parts of yourself. So this is why I am so excited to take you from being a local superstar in our amazing community here in the wine country to having people really know what's available with an expert like you through Untamable and the different programs and things that are upcoming in your practice. So communication, everyone, right? This really amazing layering of being your full self and communicating intentionally. I just feel like this is the communication angel right here. You're so welcome. Dr. Kristy, share about why you decided, after all these years, all this expertise, success, and honing this craft in your field and just becoming like your own unique, amazing method that gets your clients, your students results. What made you decide to go ahead and become a best-selling author?
Well, I love to write. I love to, but I have published other studies, but they're more within the educational field. And I was discussing it with more than one person. And then when I met you, you encouraged me. And I was going, really? Doesn't everyone know this? And it encouraged me, and it gave, and I appreciate my background so much from my family, and being able to learn different ways. But I loved writing it. But it's hard because I want to say so much.
I know, that is the thing.
So I kind of,
well, this is just the beginning, right? Just having all of the people that are already super fans in your world have this expanded now for all of you to just really join the trajectory that Dr. Kristy's on. And there's so much in Untamable. You know, the whole key here is you guys are going to click the link, get the book, get on board, and get that upgrade absolutely done, right? So that can lead you to so much more, right? Because you only know who you are with whatever level you're at in this area. But if you're holding yourself back, suppressing yourself, just trying to be that sweet, nice girl or guy, and what you're really wanting is to say these important messages and open up your voice and elegantly transmit things to people that make new reality happen, Untamable is just a really important upgrade for you. So you're going to get it. And I'm excited for you to have what it is that Dr. Kristy has given to myself and my team. Before we shift and wrap the show, I just want to read something that is out of so many favorite parts. I want to read something that I think it just is so lovely and transformative, and also has me, it has me inspired about what's possible when anyone steps up and authors their book and makes a transformation like this, because it brings together all of these aspects of your life. And Dr. Kristy, your lovely son, Hunter, he wrote the foreword for Untamable. And you, just so everybody knows, Dr. Kristy and Hunter are just incredibly close, and you're just such a devoted mom to your sons. And it just made perfect sense that Hunter would write the foreword. And when I read this foreword, I read it sometimes just because I just want to be inspired by this incredible mother and son love, and really seeing something that I see is like Hunter feels like such a super fan, right? And I know you're a super fan of his. So I just wanted to share with you. I typically don't read all this on a show, but I just want you all to receive this part of the upgrade. So, because this is the portal into Untamable. So it says, when it comes to spirit, nature held nothing back with my mother, Dr. Kristy Singer. She is a person whose motivations hover above those of her contemporaries. Where there are questions to be asked, she not only leads the way with inquiry, but she also supplies the answers. I have never seen her fazed by the size of a goal, for she reveals in pushing envelopes and exceeding reasonable expectations. Oh, so hang on a second. Let me read that again. I have never seen her. I have never seen her fazed by the size of a goal, for she reveals in pushing envelopes and exceeding reasonable expectations, and that if life is a mountain, She isn't the mountaineer striving for the top. She is the puma that transverses the complexities of the range day in and day out, studying the intricacies of the landscape, unscripted and certainly untamable. As you will shortly discover in the pages you presently hold, her life has been dedicated to the art of learning. She seamlessly toggles between educator and student. These are roles which she fills naturally. She is at her best when creating an environment that fosters fertility of the mind. Never has she dismissed an opportunity to inspire the growth of those around her. What you'll find in Untamable is not only the story of a woman who has lived up to that descriptor, but also one for decades who has inspired people around her to do the same. I feel this book was specifically written for me. It serves as a portal to the crossroads of time and a state of mind I have never had access to. Part memoir, part self-help, Untamable is truly a deeply personal and one-of-a-kind book. I know I will be returning to it for years to come when I need that door opened to remind myself of who my mom truly is, Hunter MacNair. Now, this is everyone's portal into Untamable. So, Dr. Kristy, thank you for being with us and helping us make some untamable reality. I just want to ask you something that I ask all guests on the show, and this is an interesting one because I know you have so much to share, but let's see what comes up.
Yes.
So what we'd all like to know is that when you are transitioning from this body into another one,
Yes,
to continue your journey, what is the most important message that you will have wanted to leave with the world? And it's the one that people will say, Dr. Kristy told me that, and they'll be carrying that forward. What is that?
I would say it's a couple things. It's helping humanity to understand what I've discovered, what brings happiness and beautiful relationships. And it's almost like a relief that I have learned how to appropriately communicate with people and give them my message.
Lovely. Yes, I'm right with you. What you do and the different services that you have, this is everything, everyone. Communication, this is the foundation for all great reality making. And so if you want to also connect with Dr. Kristy, you can go to her website, which is Dr. Kristy Singer MacNair. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll have the link here for you. And you can buy Untamable with the link here as well. And there's just a beautiful hardcover and a beautiful softcover. Some of you may want to get both because this is a beautiful style accessory for your home. And it's just absolutely elevated my home by having it there. And the paperback, some of you might like to carry books around the way that I do and, you know, might get a little bit more beat up. So I encourage either one of the books, or for some of you that are really, really intending to be untamable, grab both of them. Now, I just want to appreciate all of you for tuning in with us and doing these upgrades, and we will see you next time. All right, everyone, take care.